Good morning, my neighbors!
Starting the coffee with the chopsticks of truth using the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning, welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee. Instant coffee. This is Starbucks instant coffee. I bought, when it first came out, I think I bought like 5 cans of it. I'm not a big Starbucks fan to begin with, but I bought it before I actually hated them. So let's give this a shot. Excellent. Tastes great too when it's bulletproof. Bulletproof is a tablespoon of ghee or coconut oil and heavy cream. And I also put in a half teaspoon of Sacred 7 mushroom mix to make it not only bulletproof, but also nootropic. Slam that down fast. I have a question for you that is probably going to be incorporated into my coaching and consulting, and that is this. What is your highest ROI activity? In other words, what activity of yours yields the most fruit? I like to say, where and when do you produce the most bang with your work? This is where studying your workday becomes crucial. I know with so many people, getting a salary just kind of tires you out. In other words, we're just happy to make it to work on time, clock out on time. But are we really productive? What are we really, really getting done at work, Monday through Friday? When do you produce the most? Where do you produce the most? Is it the morning? Let's look at the different factors. Is it the morning? Is it in your office? Is it in a Starbucks? A coffee shop? Where do you produce the most? When do you produce the most? When do you do your best writing? When do you do your best correspondence? When do you get your best workouts in? But let's just talk about revenue. All right. That'll cloud the issue if I start talking about workouts. That's a whole different issue. Where do you make the most money, and when do you do it? When you're doing what? Early in the morning, by yourself, after breakfast, before breakfast, after a cup of coffee? Can you nail down the exact factors that exist, that you've created, that you've experienced, where you produce the most fruit, the most bang for your activities, the highest ROI activity? What is it? When is it? And where are you when it happens? Remember yesterday when I talked about time wasters and minimizing and or eliminating them from your life? That's the beginning of learning what is your highest ROI activity. Remember when I was teaching a course on how to make money selling your artwork? It was actually a course that I wrote and that I taught at several art centers. This was probably 20 years ago. I did it right after 2 cups of coffee. Remember Victor Pride talked about coffee, cardio, and cold showers, right? Coffee was a big part of my productivity. It's a nootropic. The caffeine gets your brain going. But there is a point of, what do they say, diminishing returns. Like when I was typing, and I was a very, very fast typist, I could literally type as you are talking to me. I could type what you are talking 20 years ago. That was the top of my game. I remember typing a page and then going back to edit it the next day. And I remember when I had 2 cups of coffee, I had nearly 0 typos. After 2 cups of coffee, I started having more typing errors and needed more time editing. I identified what was my highest ROI activity, what I was doing, what I was eating, what I was drinking, what time of day it was. After 2 cups of coffee, I was flying, literally typing on my keyboard as fast as I was thinking. Now you would think, oh, coffee did that. Well then, maybe more coffee will create better results. Wrong. 3 cups of coffee and I made more mistakes typing because the caffeine made me jittery, so to speak. I'm at the point now where 1 cup of coffee optimizes my performance. 2, I can get a little bit jittery, and I think it has to do more with age than anything else. But I remember the time of day that it was. Let me tell you what my day was like. I would get up at between 4 and 4:30, make coffee. I'd go downstairs, make coffee, be sipping on some coffee, just checking email, come back upstairs, change in very quietly without waking people up, change into my gym clothes, and go to the gym from 5 to 6. I was back home, literally pulled in the driveway at 6 o'clock. At that time, my youngest was just a baby. I would take him, and he would be awake. He'd be standing up in his crib. And I would go into his room and pick him up and bring him over to our bedroom and put him in between me and my wife. And we called it snuggle buggy time. And I would just like lay there with them, for about 10, 15 minutes. And then I would get out of bed, leave the baby, he's not a baby anymore, leave him there with mom while I took a shower and got dressed. And then I would head downstairs to my home office, which was in the basement. I had a walkout basement, had windows and a door, so it wasn't like a dungeon basement. I could actually see my backyard, my garden, and such. And I would start my writing at that point. And also at that time, I was having my 2nd cup of coffee. What were the factors present when I was being super productive? I was up early, I worked out first, I had 2 cups of coffee, I was satisfied with the family life, things were harmonious at the time. I had taken a shower. I didn't quite eat yet. I might have had a bite of something or a piece of fruit, but breakfast did not charge me up. How some people say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's not for me. When I eat, I kind of slow down a little bit, and I can tell that the blood is leaving my brain and going to my stomach. So when I literally identified the factors that preceded my highest ROI activity, I became a master of my time, a master of my actions. I became very efficient. For instance, there was no wasted moves at all. I had it down to a science. I am asking you to identify all the factors that precede your highest ROI activity. What are they? What is the where and the when and the how? What do you do? For instance, I'll never forget, probably 3 years ago, there was a fellow who told me that as soon as he gets up, no, this wasn't 3 years ago, this was 5 years ago, this was in 2017. One fellow told me he gets up and drinks a bottle of water, 16 ounces of water, upon waking. And that breaks his fast, jump starts his system, clears his head, and then he has his coffee. He made sure that he drinks water before he drinks coffee. I started doing that 5 years ago. And that's probably, I think that's about the time the Daybreak show started. How can somebody be so awake so early in the morning? I can tell you it isn't the coffee. It was the water followed by coffee. I work great while it's still dark outside. By the time the sun is up and it's already rush hour, I have already gotten 2 hours of work done. High return on my investment work. So for me, I get the most work done before the sun comes up. I don't waste time returning emails and checking emails and social media. I use the best hour of my day for me. What are the best hours of your day? And are you willing to experiment with them, change them, tweak some of the factors? I've always said that you need to give the first hour of the day to yourself, because after that, most people are giving their hours to someone else or to a company. You need to own the first hour or two of your day. If you can, make it 2 hours. Who and what are you giving your best time and energy to? What I just taught you is pure gold. That alone can change everything in your life. I hope that helps. Finish your coffee and I'll see you on the next Daybreak show, your home of sanity, clarity, reason, and efficiency.